Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Ain. My register number is A1M29103. So today I will explain the material about preference. So preference in English is an expression of choice or opinion that someone prefer about object, activity, people, or others. Preference can be expressed through several words, such as this word. The first is wall prefer and like. So preference is divided into two parts. The one part is mentioned comparators. A. Like plus noun plus better than plus noun. The word like, which is used when you want to express what you like or want. Example. The first example is I like English study better than math. 2. I like writing better than watching movie. 3. They like coffee better than tea. B. Prefer plus noun plus to plus noun. The word prefer is used in sentence to express preference or preference for something or preferring to do something. When learning basic English, prefer can be defined as preferable to. Example, the first example is I prefer yellow to blue. 2. I prefer tea to coffee. 3. He preferred novel to journal. Next, C. Whole writer plus V1 plus then plus V1. What need to be considered from this formula is the pair of whole writer and the form of the verb used. It can be said that whole writer always be paired with then, or in other words, if whole writer be paired with to or writer then the preference sentence is considered inappropriate. Then for the verb used, make sure to always use the verb in the first form or V1 according to the predetermined formula. Do not add to before V1 because it will be judged wrong because it does not match the formula. The next for more details. Here are some examples of preference using the formula whole writer plus V1 plus then plus V1. The first is she would rather dance with me than sing alone. 2. I would rather cook than sweep. 3. They would rather watch a score game than go to the beach. 4. He would rather listen than speak. 5. We would rather paint than sew. So the next material is those are some examples of using a preference formula that uses comparator. Try to remember this formula and other formula precisely to produce good sentence and correct according to the condition. Next, D would prefer plus to V1 plus rather than plus V1. So one of the formula used in preference material using comparison is to prefer plus to V1 plus rather than plus V1. Example, the first example is he would prefer to drink coffee rather than drink milk. 2. He would prefer to play football rather than read a book. That's an example of using the formula to prefer plus to V1 plus reader than plus V1. So the key is to try to remember the formula well. 2. Without mentioning the comparators. A prefer plus to V1. The use of prefer plus to V1 is very different from the use of prefer in English in the form of noun, minus to, minus noun, and verb, minus egg, minus to, minus verb, minus egg, and age. The difference is that the use of prefer in the English form to infinite or V1 state that you prefer to one thing only. So the following is an example of using prefer in the English form to place V1. The first is she preferred to make a cake. 2. The man preferred to practice. 3. She preferred to dance or dancing. 4. I preferred to write a poem. 5. She preferred to play violin. 6. We prefer to white your hair. 7. He preferred to white hair. 8. We prefer to go Europe. B. Prefer plus noun is one of the formulas of prefer that does not use comparators. What should be noted from prefer plus noun is the noun itself. Try to distinguish which verb is noun. Do not let when we compose it what we when to make prefer plus noun instead we make prefer plus verb. Example. So one example is I prefer to swimming. 2. He preferred to sing. 3. I prefer to stay. 4. They prefer her cafe black. Next, word preferred has a function to state what we prefer without comparing to specific things. Subject plus word prefer plus to verb 1. Example. The first example is I would prefer to take bus to school. 2. He would prefer to save his money. 3. They would prefer to keep a kitten in their house. So we can also abbreviate would prefer. The first is 8 prefer to stay at hotel. 2. Said prefer to tell her problem to her mom. 3. He preferred to sleep in this friend's home. D. Full return has the meaning of preferring an activity not object without comparing to specific things. Subject plus whole reader plus verb 1. So example is I would read romance novels. 2. Shen would reader join extracurricular every weekend. 3. Joanna would rather eat meatball in that restaurant. 4. They would rather swim on Sunday. Okay, that's all for me. Maaf jika ada salah kata. Atas perhatiannya saya ucapkan terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.